Hey, this is Gary. In this video I'm going to show you how to play Station Fall. This is a game about sending robotic mining stations to Mars and then returning with rockets full of Martian diamonds. As you can see, each player has 6 rockets in front of them. In order to win the game, you have to be the first player to play all 6 of your rockets out to the board. But you can only put a rocket on one of the tiles of the board if that tile has 3 of your mining stations, 3 of your colored dice on it. Each tile will only hold dice with certain numbers. For instance, this tile only holds even numbered dice, 2, 4, 6, and other tiles have other similar requirements. The back of the instruction booklet has some of these requirements, things like sequentially numbered dice that make up a straight, 3 of a kind would be a set, or 3 dice that add up to 10 are another example of some of the tile requirements in this game. Let's just walk through a few turns now so you can see how the game plays out. Each turn has 3 phases. The first of those phases is to play any tiles in your hand out to the board. Everybody starts with one of these tiles, and when you play it, it just has to be adjacent to any of the other tiles already in the center of the table. The second phase is to take 4 of your dice and roll them, and then you can re-roll as many of those dice as you want once. So here we've got a couple of 6s, a 3, and a 5. Now the tiles that are in the center of the board, this one requires 3 of a kind in order to place dice on it. This one requires 3 odd numbers. So I could try to hold on to my 2 6s and roll another 6 to place on the tile closest to us here. Or I could try to re-roll the 6s, try to get an odd number, which seems like a little bit safer bet, so that's what I will do. Re-roll my 6s here. I lucked out, I got a 5, so now I can place these 3 dice on this tile, and since this tile has 3 of my dice, I get to claim it with a rocket. Now since I claimed an empty tile, I get to draw one, and I'll play this at the beginning of my next turn. Next is the black player's turn, and they're going to go through the same 3 steps we saw for the red player, starting with playing this tile out to the board. This tile requires 3 large dice to be played on it, so large are 5s or 6s. Then we'll roll 4 dice. The black player rolls a 5, a 6, a 1, and a 3. So we have nothing close to a set, but we do have 2 large dice that we can set aside and try to re-roll the 1 and the 3 to get another either 5 or 6. We got a 5 and a 3, so now we have 3 large dice to place on this tile. Place those out. Now that we have 3 dice on a tile, we can put a rocket on it, and we can draw a new tile for the beginning of our next turn. Now that black has deployed dice right next to red, we can look at how attacking works in Station Fall. So these mining stations that we're deploying are only going to be attacking as we place them on the board. As they're falling through the Martian atmosphere, they're going to attack their neighbors. So neighboring dice are dice that are either on the same tile or dice that are sharing a corner of the hex. So this 5 is neighboring its own 5 and 6 as well as this enemy 3. Now it's going to attack enemy neighboring dice, and it's going to destroy them if it's bigger. So this 5 that was just landed is going to destroy this smaller 3, and we'll take it off the board to show that. We'll also take off the rocket now that there's not 3 stations on that tile. Red will lose their rocket. And black's turn isn't quite over yet. They actually have another 3 that satisfies this tile's requirement of having only odd dice. So you can place the 3 onto that tile. Now if the 3 happen to have been bigger than these 5s, it would continue to cascade attacks and destroy these 5s. But it's smaller, and the 5s aren't going to attack back. The dice will only attack when they're first placed on the board. Once they're down, they're going to be busy mining Martian diamonds. Now I just want to clarify one more point about this last turn. The rule is that in order to place dice on an empty tile, you have to place all 3 dice on that tile. But if a tile is only partially occupied, like when black had attacked off red's 3 from this tile, the rule then becomes any player with neighboring dice stations can place or deploy dice to that hole. So right now either the red or the black player, if they had an odd die, would be able to place it in that empty spot. Here's a closer look at some of the tiles, and in particular I want to bring your attention to the icons in the center of each of these tiles. These represent different advantages that those tiles provide. So if we start at the lower left hand corner, we have lasers. This provides a +1 to the attack value of any die deployed to it. And right next to it we have a shield icon. This gives +1 to the defensive value of any dice deployed to it. The tiles in the top row require you to deploy all 3 dice to it before you get their advantages, and we start in the upper left hand corner here with the extra die advantage. So instead of having only 4 dice to roll on each turn, you would have 5 if you controlled one of these tiles. The reroll, extra reroll, is in the middle. If you control that tile, you'll get an extra reroll, so 2 rerolls instead of 1. And in the upper right hand corner we have the diamond icon, which allows you to control this with 2 rockets instead of 1, which will help you reach your victory condition of having deployed all 6 of your rockets more quickly. You can probably imagine running into an unlucky roll of the dice where you're unable to place any of them on the board. When this happens, these utility cards are your consolation prize. There will always be 2 face up, and you'll get to choose which of them you'd like to take instead of placing dice on your turn. The examples that I have in front of me here will make it easier for you to deploy dice on later turns. For instance, this card on the left will allow you to, in addition to the dice that you've rolled, place an extra die with a value of 4 on the board. And on the right we have a card that will allow you to change one of the dice you've rolled's values by adding 1 to it. And that's how you play Station Fall. If you're interested in learning more, the full rules for this game are available for free online. You can also find a link to buy this game at sugarpillstudios.com.